Welcome back. The Secretary General of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association joins us. Baba Othman Ingarzama shares the perspective of the herdsmen on the root of the latest crisis. Baba Othman Ingarzama, you're welcome to Hard Copy.
Thank you very much.
Now, the members of your association, the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association, that's MACBAN, you've been in the middle of a conflict between farmers and herdsmen in some instances, even with rustlers. So what, from your perspective, from the perspective of MACBAN, what has been the root cause of this crisis? I mean, we first of all saw the one in Benue, Nagatu, was most disturbing. And then towards the later part of last year, we saw it in southern Kaduna, which, seems to still be a hotbed of tension, sometimes political, sometimes religious, sometimes, between farmers and herdsmen. But mostly we're seeing fighting over land. What, from the perspective of MACBAN, is the root cause of the crisis?
The root causes are simply small farm distractions that were not managed very well by the communities, the security agencies, and the traditional institutions. So because these small farm distractions were not managed in the way they are supposed to be managed, they escalate into big problems that claims so many lives. We have had our experiences in Benue, but we thank God now Benue is calm. We have had similar experiences in Plateau. We thank God Plateau is calm. Now is southern Kaduna. We have been there severally, even after the last one that took place before this one. We were at Kachia, with the military formation, with the police, with all the traditional institutions. We discussed, we look at the causes, we analyzed them, we took some decisions. But to our greatest surprise, barely a month after that, the crisis went up again. And it's due to unmanaged farm distraction in Godogodo area then. And it was in only Godogodo chiefdom then. But it has now escalated, covering almost all the chiefdoms in southern Kaduna. I wonder when people are calling this crisis a religious crisis. It's the same crisis between farmers and herders. If you call this one a religious crisis, then what name can you give the one that is taking place in Zamfara state between Hausas as farmers on one side and Fulanis and herders on the other side, both Muslims? And what can you also call the one that is taking place in Kaduna state, almost between Fulanis and Fulanis? The Fulanis as farmers on one side and the Fulanis as herders on the other side, both Muslims. So it's far away from religion. It's a conflict between farmer and cattle breeder that is not managed very well. It escalates to this serious problem where so many lives were lost. So if you look at the whole thing, apart from the farmer cattle breeder conflict that created communication gap between the two, the farmers, the main issue now is the absence or lack of communication between these two professions. Apart from it, we have a new phenomenon of this security issue of cattle rustling, banditry, and kidnapping that also has become a very big issue. And who are the receiving aids? They are the pastoralists. Who are the owners of the cattle in the country? Definitely they are the pastoralists. Today we lost over 2 million cows of heads of cattle, numbers of cattle as a result of cattle rustling. So many families were rendered poor because that is their only source of livelihood. They don't know anything apart from cattle rearing. Today their cattle had been carted away by cattle rustlers, rendering so many families poor.
From what you're saying, it would look like, you're also saying that MACBAN members as herders have also been victims. But a lot of people perceive, herders as the aggressors. I mean, they believe that it is their cattle that go to eat up people's farms. They trespass people's farms. And in some instances, the herders are the ones who are aggressive, killing people even right there on their farms.
Well, you see, also if you look at the negative profiling of our members today, it's so alarming. It has reached a serious climax today. And sometimes this negative profiling borders around sheer mischief, laden with political and ethno-religious correlations to smear the name of our members across the country. Today, this thing has helped in pinching our members against each and every community, because even the media is not playing its role as far as we are concerned, because so many a times the story that is given to the public is lopsided. MACBAN or any of the pastoral association will not be contacted for a balance the story. So sometimes when they just hear it, they report it the way they had it, even without investigating.
From your perspective, why do you think that there is a negative profiling of the herdsman today?
Definitely we feel it's political. Maybe because the president is a Fulani man, so a herder has become a battleground today. So if politicians want to attack the president, they use the herdsman name. Look at what happened last time when Ali Modu Sharif, serving his role was Makarfi in PDP. He came out to the media to tell them that it is the herdsmen have come to attack Wadata Flada. Look at the surprising things that is taking place. Look at what took place last time, about 2 weeks ago. The feast initiative initiated by the governor of Nasarawa State and the governor of Benue State about the Agatu. They were in Agatu with all our members. A feast was initiated, a reconciliation was reached. Even some funds were set aside for the reconstructing that Agatu village. But all of a sudden, after a week, some other group came from that particular area to condemn that feast initiative. This is politics in play, because the two governors are maybe from the same political party. Well, maybe that is why politics is coming into play. Some guys are coming out to condemn the feast initiative that was initiated by the two governors as chief security officers of the state. So you can see how politics is being played with people's lives. So I believe even this profiling of our members is more of politics. In northern Kaduna now, they call it religion. If you go to Zamfara, it's a different name. If you come to Katana, it's a different name. But all the fight, all the conflict is between the herder and the farmer.
We cannot dismiss that people are dying. I mean, that's the truth of the matter. In Agatu, we heard how many people died. In southern Kaduna, the figures are under dispute. But people are dying in this crisis. And in many instances, you know, this is not just profiling for the sake of profiling, you know. In some instances we have heard, in fact, I think we heard from, I think, the governor of Benue State, and we heard from the governor of Kaduna State, that these herdsmen, the people who are committing these atrocities are not the local herdsmen, they are herdsmen from outside. Is it a position that MACBAN also holds?
That cannot be ruled out too, because of the international transhuman rules we have. It's covered by the ECOWAS Treaty, so they are free to move from Mali down to Niger up to Cameroon. So that also cannot be ruled out. But the aspect of, if you say people are dying, is definitely people are dying. But the death is not also lopsided. We also lost a lot of people as a result of the conflict who are at the receiving end. It's the herder. But his own case is not reported to the public. That's why the information is always lopsided, while the herder is the victim, is today portrayed all over the world as a culprit. So the profiling is pinching our people against each and every community. We need the media to be fair with us in disseminating balanced information to the public.
When you talk about cattle rustling, you talked about how you've lost close to 2 million cattle. In some instances, we know that, for instance, in Kano State, we know that these cattle were recovered, you know, due to some work there. In fact, at some point, I think amnesty was granted by the state governor. But what do you think is behind the cattle rustling? Is it the farmers, or do you think it's people who are coming from the outside?
It's criminals. A crime doesn't discriminate between tribe, religion, or what have you. It's a gang of criminals. There's nobody you cannot find in the group. It's a syndicate group. I told you during our last interview, we have apprehended about 4 times cattle, stolen cattle in Lagos. We brought them back to the north. We discovered it's a syndicate. It's a crime, so everybody is in it. A syndicate of
who? Or is it people that are on the inside or people that are on the outside?
Everybody is in. The criminals are there. Sometimes you file, even the security is there. The traditional rulers sometimes are also involved in it. So it's a syndicate.
That's tonight's edition of the program. We will bring you the concluding part of the show where both parties proffer solutions to the lingering crisis. In the meantime, tweets and comments are welcome to the address on your screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Maokbe Ogun. Goodbye.